Hello, and welcome to the Louise Elizabeth Podcast, formerly known as the Happy Lifestyles Podcast. Head over to episode 35 if you would love to learn more about the rebrand. This space is a space for me to talk about anything relating to holistic health living, mind, body, lifestyle, spirit, business, and so much more. In my opinion, health is a whole lifestyle, not just one thing that we work on. I will be getting transparent with you, sharing information that I have learned that has supported me and things that I'm currently learning and working on myself. Living a happy and holistic life has changed my world, and I hope to inspire you to do the same or give you the tools and resources that you can take away into your own life. I am a 620-hour registered yoga teacher. I am a registered holistic nutritionist and a professional network marketer in the wellness industry. Thank you for being here. Let's get started with today's episode. Hello. I am on a rampage this morning. I just recorded the rebrand. I was like, you know what? I'm going to keep rolling because I'm just feeling super inspired to talk. So here I am. I am excited to talk about the seasons of life today. And the reason I'm excited about it is because, well, it's just something that I've personally been embracing myself. So I'm a very red, fiery, yang type of person. And I was basically living my life like it was always summer. Always summer, always go, always go. And this is going to be relevant for business as well. If you're someone that you have your own online business or whatever it is, like just outside of life too, is I was just always go. And it would hit a point where I would just burn out. And I know part of that's the self-care routine, but I also used to just fight the seasons of life and how they go and how they work. And, I just realized like that just wasn't sustainable. And this is a concept that I came across a few years ago. Now it just bringing it more into my life and starting to embrace it more. And even just with my yoga practice, that's where it really started, was with my yoga practice. And then realizing like, oh, there's actually really important things to that balance in every season of life. And then now I have my business, my network marketing business, and I have come across this concept a couple of times in trainings, but there's something about what it landed. I listened to a podcast actually while I was on a run last week, and it just landed a little bit differently. And maybe it was because I was on a run, so I wasn't like watching a training. I was running, so I was only listening to the podcast. There was no other distractions around me. And I guess, you know, when you exercise a lot of the time, especially something that's a little bit more engaging and challenging than running, at least for me, you're just like super in the moment. Like, you know, as cheesy as that sounds, you're like super in the moment. You're not anywhere else. And it just really hit home and landed a little bit differently. And so I wanted to do a podcast episode on it because, you know, it's so easy to think that we need to be go all the time. Or, you know, if something happens in our life, you know, maybe like I really hope, well, death is a part of life, but you know, when something like a death happens in life, instead of trying to be summertime, you know, that is more winter time. That is a time where you go into a cocoon and a nest and you heal and you rejuvenate and you fill up your cup and you sleep and you know, you do the things, the kind of just that softer, quieter time, instead of trying to be busy, when really what your body and your mind and your soul definitely most likely need is that wintertime vibe to it. And something else, as I'm talking and saying this, is that I actually also embrace in my life is eating with the seasons. And as a woman, I try and eat with the seasons every month. It makes it a little tricky when you're on the road and you have a male partner. But I especially try and do it throughout the year. And also something that you can embrace. So just planting that seed. Now, let's talk about the different seasons. Let's go through the different seasons. And with business, actually, before I get into that, with business, it is also really relevant. And what I will say, if you're listening to this and you're like, well, I don't want to be in winter with my business. And that's me and my stubbornness, right? I was like, well, I don't want to be in winter. Like, I want to be in control when it's winter. I want to be in control when it's summer. I want to be in control of fall and spring and all those things. Like, I just don't want winter. And listening to this podcast really, again, made it hit differently and land differently, where I was like, oh, right. Like, I love winter. I actually do. Like, winter is my favorite season in like the most literal sense. I love the snow. I love snowboarding. And I love doing things. So why would I fight winter? Why would I not embrace it? And I get that and like I'll share the some of the aha moments of the podcast, but with winter, especially with business, it was so easy to be like, well, because I didn't see growth in like numbers or pay or team or clients or any of those things, I was like, well, I've just been in winter for X amount of time. Instead of being like the intention and the kind of work I'm doing and the literal planting of seeds, I was just looking at the numbers and letting that determine that it was winter. And I was like, holy smokes. And again, I'm a big believer in your thoughts create your reality, right? Like what you think, what you feel, you're creating that reality by doing that. And so I was like, okay, time out. I'm not in winter. I'm not always in winter when I'm not reaching my goals. It's the intention and the type of work I do. Just boom. Big blah, my head exploded moment. And that was probably actually my biggest takeaway from that podcast. So let's get into the different seasons. I will talk about all four of them, and I will dive into them a little bit, and I might even dive into food a bit for them. So this is actually a great time to announce. Sometimes you say things like when you're on a podcast, you say things and you're just like, what just came out of my mouth? Is to share that I have been working on this free ebook for people, and it's going to come with the launch of my website. By the time that this podcast episode launches, I'm going to say it is not going to be ready yet, but keep your eyes peeled on my website, and once it is ready, I will update the show notes in this podcast for you to get access to it. But I'm creating a free ebook of eating with the season. So this is like a different podcast for a different day, but in a nutshell, your ideal diet involves eating what's local, what's in season, and essentially what aligns with your values. So one of those things is eating in season. So I actually have this beautiful list that I created forever ago, like way before I was even interested in nutrition, of the different foods to eat for each season. So I'm going to also give you some tips and tricks on that here. So we're going to go through each season, and we're going to start with summer. And we're going to start with summer because, well, it's summer and it's at the top of my list. So summer is a time of growth, right? And activity. This is where things are expanding. There's a lot of activity. We're doing a lot of things. Like if you think about actual summer, the kids are on vacation. We're busy. We're going to the beach. We're hanging out in the sun. We're recharging in the sun. People tend to have drinks a little bit more. There's little like parties, barbecues, gatherings. Like it's just busy, 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 busy. Things are in full bloom, right? Things are blooming. Things are growing without even thinking twice. It rained for a week, but everything still seems to be expanding and growing and getting bigger. So when you think about your life, and this could be like just for goal setting or like your intention around your house, like like the like just what you do in that sense, or your relationships, like our relationships go through seasons as well. And it is that busy time. It is that time where things just seem to be expanding without effort. And the same goes with your business. There just seems to be clients or sales or team or people coming through your store and buying things. Like it's just easy and it's light and it's fresh, and the conversations are easy and it just flows. I shouldn't say easy, it flows. Like it's very effortless. And that's summertime. And the thing is summertime is busy, right? Like even though it feels effortless, it feels like it's in flow, things are just like da 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 da, it still involves energy. It still involves you using energy in your tank, or it still involves energy for the plants to grow, right? So there is still energy involved when there's all this activity. And so if you're constantly just growth, activity, expand, you're just going to hit a wall and you're just going to go and flat down, right? So when it comes to food to think about for summer are like light, really higher water dense or water content food. So with hydrating, I know a lot of people are like, I drink 3 to 4 liters of water, or I drink more than 2 liters. The thing is once you pass that 2 liter ish, I say ish because it fluctuates depending on your body type, gender, all those things, that 2-ish mark, your body actually doesn't absorb water anymore. because it doesn't have the electrolytes and things like that to actually create a chemical reaction in your body for your body to absorb it. And so it's not just H2O in that chemical reaction. I don't remember what it is off the top of my head. I won't pretend like I do. But you actually need other things, right? So this is where in the summer times, especially those really hot, humid times, is eating those juicy, like eating those fruit and vegetables, especially those fruits where you bite into them and it's just like peach juice all over your face. Like really think about that in the summertime, because that will not only nourish you, but it's also hydrating. And again, water is only hydrating to a certain extent, and that's why you want to eat those higher water content foods. Now, for women, a good thing to think about is the week leading into your, not that you should, like the week leading into your menstrual cycle should actually be more fall type foods, but eating those higher water content foods, certain ones will help to actually flush things out of your system. So I just wanted to pop that in there. If you are listening to this and you are a woman and you're like, when do I eat more summertime in my monthly cycle? Ovulation time. So that's where you eat the lighter, fresher things, salads. You don't feel like you need as many calories. You're just a little bit lighter, vibrant. Generally speaking, if you have like an estrogen dominance condition, that might not be the case. Ovulation might actually not be a very fun time for you, and that's understandable enough. Okay, so moving on to, so after summer comes fall. So fall is actually a big time for shift in energy, right? In in your climate and diet. This is the time where we harvest. Okay, so what does that mean in the sense of like our life? So I'm trying to think of examples of fall in our life. So I'll use a relationship example. You just did all this work. Maybe you went to couples counseling, maybe you took a course with your partner, you did all this expanding, and maybe you even did it separately. This is the time where all that work, you get to reap the benefits of it, right? You get to harvest the benefits of that. So maybe that means that you just are sitting in this beautiful cocoon of newfound love with your partner, or even with yourself. You did all this personal development and you've been expanding, and maybe you're like, you know what? I do believe in personal development like every day. I do believe in expanding every day, but I also believe in, if you've done like a bunch of courses or a bunch of expanding and growing, you also need to absorb it, right? You need to reap in the harvest of all that hard work that you did. So if you're constantly trying to feed new things into your brain, you don't get to reap it, right? So take that time to reap it in. Maybe you're, in the summertime, you, as a mom, have been very present for your children. You literally, it just, summer tends to line up literally for summer, for moms at least, when kids are out of school. But you've just done all this hard work. You've been at home with the kids. You've been very present for them. You've been very supportive. You've been doing activities. You've been getting out, doing all these things. Now they go back into school. Now you get to sit in that harvest of how present you've been for them. Now you get to be present for you. You get to sit and read a book guilt-free. You get to sit and maybe take a midday nap guilt-free, whatever it is, right? Like you get to take that harvest and really reap it in. And the same goes with business. And I almost should have done fall last for relevant with business, because this is the part where you reap it in. This is where the paycheck expands. This is where, the pay line expands. If you're in network marketing, you know what that means. Like this is where you just sit there and you're like, those seeds I planted in spring that blossomed in summer, I'm just sitting here and reaping it all in. Just sitting in it. Just in that harvest. Just eating it, eating it all up, all that hard work, all the planning, the doing, you just get to eat it all up. That doesn't mean you don't do anything in fall. It just means that you're like, yes, here it is. And fall time, for a lot of people, tend to be the time that they enjoy the most, right? Because the paycheck goes up, because the pay line goes up, because the sales go up, because the clients go up, right? Everything's just in flow. And if people don't know about the seasons of business and they're in a fall, when winter comes next, right? When winter hits, that's where a lot of people quit. A lot of people. Because they just reaped in all these things and now their business is at a standstill or maybe going backwards. And that's where they quit. So don't quit when winter hits. And so for food, what is that relevant? So you actually start eating less raw fruit and vegetables and more complex carbohydrates. More dense meals, right? Starting to get colder. You want things that your body actually warms up with, not cools off. In the cycle for women, this is the luteal phase. You'll start eating less and less raw things. And I know as you're getting closer to your period, I know that I need to do a whole podcast episode on this, that smoothies doesn't mean healthy. Yes, there's a lot of nutrients and they're nutrient dense, but that doesn't necessarily mean healthy. And I don't think that smoothies should be a meal. And I used to eat smoothies as a meal, so that should be a whole other podcast topic. But anyway, point of the story is you're going to start eating less raw fruit and veggies. You're going to eat more complex carbohydrates. So especially complex carbohydrates, the luteal phase for women is really supportive in removing that extra estrogen out of your digestive system, out of your body, out of the colon, and just help getting things moving. Winter. So a lot of people dread winter. I was the same, right? Like I shared my story. I was just like, no, I don't want to slow down. No, I don't want to, all these things. So the thing with winter though is it's just a rich, warm time. Like I get that sounds kind of like contradicting what winter's cold, but it's a rich, warm time in the sense that you get to nest. You get to put a blanket on and sleep in and recharge and take a bath. In your life, that literally is what you can do, is actually just reap it in. Like, sleep in some more. Stop trying to always do, because if you always do, you don't get that time to go inwards and connect and be intuitive and, just slow down and say no to things. And, that might be your winters for a week or a month. Winter doesn't need to be the actual length of winter. Winter for you could mean, okay, for the next month, I'm saying no to all social engagements. And I'm just working on myself. I'm just going to spend time with myself. Like, maybe that's your winter, and that's fine, and that's beautiful, and that's perfect, right? This is the time where you need to think about being the own furnace of your life. How can you warm yourself up? How can you keep yourself feeling cozy? How can you keep yourself feeling in this supported way? What are you going to do to fuel your own furnace? And so with business, again, I get it. It's easy to be like, oh, I'm in winter all the time. I'm in winter all the time. I'm in winter all the time. You can still take control of winter. If you feel like, okay, I planted some seeds in spring, which we'll talk about spring. I had a lot of growth, a lot of flow. Things are moving smoothly in summer. Okay, fall, I just was reaping it in. Maybe you took a vacation and your paycheck is still coming in, whatever it is. And then winter hits, and you'll know when winter hits because things start to slow down. People start quitting. People return. People are saying no left, right, and center. For some people, wintertime is the actual literal summertime, especially in the business of helping people, because people don't want to do a course. People don't want to be online. People don't want to be on their phones. They want to be outside in the sun, right? So maybe winter for you is that time. And the key is to still keep showing up and use that time to make a plan. Like, sit and think about, okay, what do I want in 2 weeks from now? What do I want in a month from now? What do I want in 3 months from now? What do I want in a year from now? Like, you can use winter to your advantage. You still do the do and you still show up, but maybe you're just not, your intention and the actions that you're taking in your business, again, all depending on your business, the actions that you take in your business are just a little bit different in winter. You still show up. Maybe if you're on social media, you still do posts at least. You still respond to messages, but maybe you're not expanding your network right now. You're just thinking, okay, like, going inwards, like, okay, what does next level me show up? What's my next level in business? What's my this? What's my that? And actually start asking the questions and thinking about the answers and start trying to find those answers. So winter foods, it's a time of richer, more warming foods. So you want to eat those building up foods, those foods that just literally warm you. It's a lot more complex carbohydrates, a lot of protein and healthy fats. And back to that, your your furnace needs fuel, right? So if you are a woman and you do cycle syncing, winter foods around your menstrual cycle is what you want. Now, I know that can sound counterintuitive when you're feeling bloated or you have cramping or things like that, but when you think about your uterine lining and it's shedding, that's a building down activity. So you want to eat foods where you're building up. So you're losing nutrients through that shedding. So you want to be eating those nutrient dense foods. And the heavier, more dense foods are the more nutrient dense foods. So on to spring. Last but not least is springtime. So this is a time to heal, rejuvenate. I don't like to use the word detox, but just kind of press reset, refresh. If you're going to fast, you fast, cleansing. Not that I think fasting is necessarily the most amazing thing anymore, and I used to think it was, and now not so much, especially for women, but different topic for a different day. This is where you can get creative. This is the fertile time, right? Like, this is where you're literally planting seeds. You're planting the seeds. So in your life, maybe you're planting the seeds in the sense of, okay, like, I want to do this course in the future, and so I need to do these things now to set myself up for next season of summer. We're expanding and growing. So you work maybe a little bit harder planting seeds, or you book some time off, or whatever it is. Like, this is the time to plant the seeds of getting ready for that growth and expansion. In your relationship, maybe even, you just had a winter where you felt really disconnected, and, maybe you spent more time on yourself, and you're like, okay, I need to rekindle, respark, reconnect with my partner. You start planting those seeds, like, start having those conversations, start thinking about those things, and then when summer hits, you're ready for it. In business, the same. If you have a new project idea, or if you're in the business of connecting with people, maybe you're just on a mission of connecting with people and planting those seeds and seeing if people are open to it. Or if you have a new project, you're going to start dropping little nuggets of, okay, here we go, this amazing thing's coming, you're going to start telling people about it. And this is the time to get creative. And if you're a woman, springtime is the time to start being like, okay, I'm coming out of my shell. I just hibernated. I just had my menstrual cycle. I just hibernated, and I am out. I'm here. I'm ready. So the kind of foods you want to eat is that they're still a little dense, but they're starting to get lighter and lighter and lighter as you move along. And that's springtime. And those are the seasons of life. And it's something that I really love to actually do a meditation on when I was teaching yoga, and asking that question, like, what season of life are you in? And whatever season of life you're in, not judging yourself or setting an expectation like, I need to be in summer. If you're in wintertime, love it and embrace it and enjoy it. If you're in fall, love it, embrace it, enjoy it. If it's summer, love it, embrace it, enjoy it. And spring, love it, embrace it, enjoy it. It is a part of life. There's nowhere in the world that you can, like, you're going to be like, well, Louise, there's tropical places. But the thing is they still go through their winters, right? They still go through their different seasons. It's different winds. It is slightly cooler. It is slightly warmer. It is slightly stormier. It is slightly sunnier or less sunnier. Like, every single place in the world goes through a season of sorts. And the same is with you. You always go through seasons. Your body goes through seasons. Your mind goes through seasons. Your intentions go through seasons. Your business goes through seasons. Your relationships with yourself go through seasons. Your relationship with your partners go through seasons. Your relationship with your friends go through seasons. Your relationship with your family go through seasons. Like, you go through seasons, and instead of fighting it and trying to be something that's just not a thing right now, embrace it and love it and enjoy it, because it is a part of life, and we don't always need to be in summer. This whole expectation from society, if you're not growing, you're dying, or whatever the saying is ridiculous. Like, you grow, and then you need to, like, absorb that information. If you're constantly growing, like, if you're constantly trying to blow a balloon up and grow, what happens to that balloon if you go too far? It explodes, right? And the same with you. If you're just trying to constantly put things into your head, expand, what happens to your head? It freaking explodes. Literally feels like it's going to explode, right? If you're constantly, even with your partner, if you're constantly, like, just trying to do something new, let's grow, let's be better, that is going to make shit hit the fan, literally, right? If you're just constantly trying to do that with each other, and then you're like, okay, stop, and that's what happens. And so instead of fighting these things, asking yourself, what season of life am I in right now? And if you're like, I don't actually know, Louise, go sit with your eyes closed for 5 minutes and ask yourself those questions. What season of life am I in right now? And the answer will come. And maybe it doesn't come right away. Maybe you need to ask that question for a week straight before you have an answer. Maybe you need to ask that question for 2 weeks before you have an answer. Just trust that whatever answer comes up, that is fine, and that is perfect, and you are perfect just as you are. Whatever season you're in is fine and perfect, just as it is. I hope you gained some value today. If you did, you know what to do. The end of the podcast will ask you yet again to please share and all the fun things. So have a great day. Bye. Thank you for listening, tuning in. I hope you gained some sort of value.
please, if you could take a couple minutes of your precious time to either leave a review or share on your socials, tag I am Louise Elizabeth, and help me spread the word of holistic health living to the entire world. Maybe that's a big dream, maybe not, but thanks again, and have a beautiful day wherever you are in this beautiful and incredible world of ours.